Yo. All right. I just want to get this off quick. I do not have a lot of time. I'm just head out to Vancouver tomorrow, so I just got stuff I got to do today. But I just want to quickly go through it because there's a couple people that asked. Last night, super chop fest into kind of Asia London. You could tell it was just the market was actively just popping higher, but just with no real power or volume, kind of. It just the volume wasn't there. The delta was very, very negative, um, just like throughout the day before, and then we really wasn't going anywhere overnight. I think ES really showed kind of the tape. Yeah, it was like around minus 4K throughout London and Asia, and then NQ. I don't even. It might have barely touched positive. It was like negative, and then I think, it just stayed almost flat basically. So there's really no volume protecting it, which kind of indicated to me that this squeeze did not feel real, and that it would eventually fail. I just wanted to know where, of course. And I said in the chat, I said earlier, I think that I said this like sometime like early London session, if not end of Asia. So lots of time, like well in advance. I said maybe 268 rejection. But if this is a squeeze, they're hiding it well. This is me saying if this is a squeeze, they're hiding it well in the volume. Basically, that the volume would then come in later once they squeeze past certain levels. But I didn't see those levels breaking. And then when we struggled just even in the 100s, we couldn't even really break out of the 100s. That's when I was like, there's no way. If this was a squeeze, we would have continued incrementally higher and we would have been targeting, back up to 540s and 600s. I'm just going to get rid of that. So how did I get that level? I mean, this is really unfortunate for me. I wish I could say I took it. I did not. I had a limit set for there, the tight stop. And that was basically the agreement I made with myself. I was up really late working on other stuff, just music wise. And then I was just like, I need to sleep. I have a big day tomorrow. So I'm just going to set a limit. And if it hits, it hits. Great. If not, whatever. But you're not going to be up early trading all morning as well. So that was the deal I made. And unfortunate that it came up to, what was that? Like 2.6 like 3. When I woke up and saw that initially, I just, as you're waking up, I was like, oh my God. And I was like, oh wait, no, I didn't get triggered. I was like, what the heck? Pretty annoyed, because that would have been a very nice top tick. I do this sometimes I set a little bit of a buffer zone. If I have a very specific level in mind, I'll move my entry down a little bit. I think it was just late and I wasn't thinking clearly as far as doing that, because I normally do that. I normally front run my entry by like at least a few points. Even a few points wouldn't have done it. It was about 6 off. I don't know. I literally had it set for, it was back here on this standard deviation extension that we had. I set it for this 2.5. I liked where it lined up with other levels, including within this golden pocket from before. So this golden pocket, see us blast through it, come up, reject. Then we start, whenever we can't break free and get up to the TR pocket, that's when we start balancing in here on both ends. And so I was looking for, if buyers don't have it yet and we're going to test the lows again, I'd want it to reject for somewhere in there. And then I just look for a level around that. And I just liked how that lined up. So it was the 2.5 standard deviation from that. I liked it rejecting from that zone. If it got all the way up above Monday lows, then the squeeze could continue. It already rejected off the 3 here. So sometimes if we're still continuing lower, if we're not going to full on reverse, these are still good levels to look for, pivots basically back down. Just look for what they line up with. This was back above previous week low, but under Monday low within this golden pocket. So that's a good area to reject. And then we can test lower, we can test some of these POCs. It's very interesting today. I'm going to say it. It's possible that we actually bottomed yesterday. Well, actually, I guess bottomed on NQ maybe. I'm not sure. It's just difficult to say right here because this is literally as low as I was looking for ES to go. I literally said, not trying to toot my own horn, kinda. I said 73.90 was like the lowest. We tapped just at the bottom here, 73.91. So we're holding that range. And why I'm iffy on this, it's just the delta is crazy negative. We have a ton of sells in here. We're down to 16K contracts, more contracts sold than bought. Or yeah, more contracts sold than bought. So deeply negative on the delta. That was on ES, and then NQ. What was it? 6K almost. Yeah, 6K negative. So we're deeply, deeply negative. You're kind of like, where are the buyers? But so the, traditional saying is what goes up must come down. Well, in a buyer's market, which we're still in in a buyer's auction right now. Buyers are still seem to have more moolah than the sellers, or more power, because with all that selling, we cannot break these lows. It is very curious to me, unless they're trying to cushion it for, I don't know, just major options expiry. But OPEX this is the start of the month. We're still at least, I think, a week or two. Oh yeah, no, we're at the end of the month. But we've passed OPEX, so I really don't know if sellers really got it, why we shouldn't be going down further. So yeah, you kind of flip that saying, where it's like, if it can't go down, it must go up, basically. If sellers can't follow through here, if they cannot breach 73.90 convincingly and then push lower, then it's like, what are we doing here? There must be a buyer absorbing price, because this is a ton of contracts sold, like a ton. And that was, largely throughout the day. Unless we just absolutely run down in Asia session, and then this market just freaking opens up below, and then we just, okay, sure, maybe that's it. And maybe they just didn't want it to happen during the day for whatever reason. I have no idea. But anyways, so yeah, it just doesn't really make sense there. I just don't understand why that wouldn't happen. So yeah, I think it's very interesting. There might actually be a buyer in the midst here scooping this up, and that would still, go with my kind of version 2 of the plan for attacking 7,800 is, if we're scooping up here and there's a buyer actively buying, then yeah, we're still targeting 7,800 for sure. Unless the seller can start breaching these lows, like, I don't know what we're doing here, kind of thing with the seller. This is they're just making this a really tough bottom to catch, and trying to convincingly stop people out before making next move higher. I don't know. Obviously, yeah, that could totally change if they 73.90 flips. Then we can start attacking lower. Then we're looking at like 7,200 area. Yeah, I'd be gunning for 7,200. These naked POCs lining up with this TR pocket. There's a lot of negative gamma tucked down there. So there's like, if you follow heat maps, there's lots of action around 7,200. The JPM collar is also below. I think it's 7,100 or something. I can't remember. It's somewhere around there. So yeah, that's also very interesting. Like, how close are we going to get to the JPM collar in this scenario? But it's almost becoming too obvious. Like, it's almost like everyone just seems to think that we're just going to hit the Morgan collar, and then that just seems too obvious now. So now I'm like, I don't know how I feel about that. We might actually just do the opposite. Anytime I feel like I'm part of a crowded trade, I hate it, right? So we'll see. 73.90 key pivot, I would say, right there. 73.90 to 74.20, anywhere and around there. If I start seeing some big buyers loading up again, I'm going to be with them. There's definitely some big buyers here pushing at the highs too, and it's just hard to catch the direction right now. So I'm just going to let the rest of this day play out, and then we'll see what happens. Asia London, it'd be very interesting. Very interesting to see if that breaks, or if we, end up with tomorrow with a gap up or something. That'd be crazy. We'll see. Anyways, I think that's it for the day. I don't think there's anything. At least I haven't been tracking anything. I've been fairly busy. SpaceX still kind of accumulating in here. If it was gonna, if this was falling flat on its face, it would start selling below there. The bottom would absolutely open up. So, and we actually saw some really, really large put sellers. So that's bullish. People selling puts in the Giga Millions. So yeah, it looks like they're trying to bait people into thinking this is going to be a flop, and then it's actually going to start ripping here again. VIX is still getting crushed. You still have VIX minus VIX EQ. So basically think individual stock volatility versus index volatility. Stock volatility, very, very high, elevated, and then index volatility is just being crushed. We're just seeing a large amount of call buyers. So it's just very, very interesting market. See what we do from here. I really, really want to test 7,800. I think that's in the cards. But you know what? If it flips 7,390, so be it. Whatever. I will. I'll follow it either way. That's our classic thing, right? If this, then that. So that's it for today. Really short video. Just want to get that out there. Yeah, good luck. Careful trade tomorrow, Friday. A lot of funky stuff could happen. And again, we are getting to the end of the JPM collar at the end of the quarter. So just be careful. There might be some crazy stuff that happens. You never know. But anyways, take care.